Blue Flare is back again, and this time it is even stronger than before, probably being one of the best decks of the current format. Digimon fans, welcome back, and today we'll be showcasing the updated version of the Blue Flare deck. With the support cards from EX4 alternative being said, this deck is now even faster than before. There are tons of new tools to make it super consistent with searching and synergy with all the cards I can play all together for this build. This is probably one of the top tier decks of the format, even in BT13. I also got a couple of cool new combos to show you guys as well, so let's get started with the deck profile first. Alright, let's start off with the Digi-Egg cards. 4 copies of the BT11 Wanyamon. This one is still just the most consistent and best Digi-Blue egg right now currently to be running, because when attacking once per turn, if you have a blue tamer in play, you get to draw one, and meeting those conditions with Blue Flare specifically is very easy to achieve, and that's the 4 eggs I really want to run overall. Okay, now let's talk about rookies. Still 4 copies of the BT10 Gaussmon. Here it has that on deletion, letting you play a level 4 Digimon card with Blue Flare and its traits from your hand, suspend it without paying memory costs. You can get a lot of value out of it and continue your combos, cycle through, find more pieces, and this is the rookie you always want to be using to chip away at your opponent's security and the early stages of the game. Then we got 4 copies of the other newer Gaussmon from EX4. Very similar in terms of helping you draw more cards and find more pieces. This one has a your turn once per turn. When a card with Blue Flare trait is played, you get to draw 1. Now, when a card with Twilight's trait is played, we get to return 1 Digimon card with Digicross requirements from your trash to your hand. So again, a lot of synergy overall, and we mainly play it for its effect. And very cool thing is that if you play this particular Digimon, itself is also counted for its effect, so you can immediately draw 1 on play, and it's just really good with your entire deck again. And this is the whole one that you want to be seeing a little bit more in the mid game stages, so that you can hard play your Blue Flare stuff and then get the maximum value by triggering the draw ones as well together. And yeah, this is the secondary Gaussmon that you want to see as often as you can. Then to round off for all the rookies, still playing the 3 copies of the Dracomon from BT11 as well, Digivolving for 0 on top of Babydomon, but you can also just Digivolve for 0 on top of a regular blue egg. Your turn once per turn, when you play another Digimon with Dramon its name or Blue Flare and its traits, you get to draw 1, very similar to that entire Gaussmon that we have. This one offers a little bit more with its inheritable of your turn once per turn. When you play another Digimon with Dramon and its name or Blue Flare and its traits, you get to gain a memory. Unfortunately, you don't really get to resolve this effect that much, but I mean, it's nice to have when it comes up every now and then. But mainly, again, we play this guy just for the draw power as much as we can. So you guys can see the rookies are pretty good right here with our entire lineup. Just before we continue with the video, I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for supporting the channel. Whether you're part of the Avault Club membership, a subscriber, or even just crossing by this video, I really appreciate the fact that you're taking the time to watch this. There are tons of Digimon content and videos on this channel, and if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell for even more. Also, give this video a like while you're at it, as it really helps. But with that out of the way, let's get back into the deck profile. Let's move into our level 4s. Definitely still the 4 copies of the BT10 Blue Flare Greymon that you want to be seeing as often as possible. Just for 4 costs, you get to use this on play to review top 4 cards, adding 2 searching capabilities or 2 targets that are Blue Flare essentially, and add them back to your hand, and then place the best to the bottom. And then if you have Kiriha in play, you actually get to return a Metal Greymon from your trash back to your hand instead. Usually I just like to find pieces with this particular card, mainly just to use that first part of that first effect. Of course, as usual, it has the on deletion save, and with its inheritable of when attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has Blue Flare in its traits, and if your opponent has 2 or more Digimon on board, you can unsuspend. So really crucial when it comes to having those 2 Digimon on board when your opponent has, and when they have more Digimon than that, it just gives you more value for all your combos, and just super key important piece that you want to be seeing. Then we're playing more Greymons. We're playing some Red Spice right here, playing the starter deck 1 Greymons. I personally just really like this card. Being able to get the security +1 is just super good, and you can do a lot of aggressive plays, aggressive checks, and you can just swing for a lot of damage very quickly. And yeah, that's why the secondary Greymon that I really want to prioritize overall for this particular deck. Then we have 1 EX4 Greymon. This is also kind of nice. It does have the on-play letting you search for top 3 cards of your deck, adding yourself 1 Kiriha and 1 blue or black Digimon card with Digicross requirements to your hand, and you trash the rest. It has the on-deletion save as well. And this one gives you an inheritable of when attacking, draw 1, not once per turn, which is kind of nice. Helps you cycle from some cards that you really need every now and then. But overall, this is just a nice one-off tech that I like to go for. You guys can play 2 copies if you want a bit more consistency as well, but I just generally like it as 1. Then let's talk about the new male Bergermon here. Also from EX4, we play 3 copies of this one. This one has on play, one of your opponent's Digimon from the lowest level gains when attacking, lose 2 memory until the end of your opponent's turn. So it's kind of like a quick mini little ice wall out there. Has the on deletion save just like all our other blue flare level 4s. And then most importantly, this one gives the inheritable jamming with no requirements whatsoever. Not even blue flare, just any Digimon that has this as a Digivolution card will gain that jamming, which is just that good with this particular guy right here. And yeah, very crucial. Combo a lot of synergy with our red Greymon to security +1, so we can do a lot of damage and not have to worry about it as well, which I really like. Then of course, we still got the 3 copies of the BT10 male Bergermon, simply because it just lets you play Kiriha for free if you don't have one. And then of course, if you do hard play this guy while you have Kiriha, it lets you grab Metal Greymon back from the trash to your hand, so you can cycle more Metal Greymons once again on deletion save. And then the inheritable is that when attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has blue flare in its traits and your opponent has 2 or more Digimon, you can just stun any of your opponent's Digimon for 1 whole turn with anything basically that you get to choose while you're attacking, which is going to be really neat and helps you, control the board very nicely with this card there. That's it for our level 4s. Let's just talk about our level 5s. Of course, as per usual, the 4 copies of the BT10 Metal Greymon is the one that we're mainly playing and want to be seeing as much as possible because of its on-play rush ability, but also, you're going to be Digicrossing it with Greymon and Male Bergermon to reduce the cost all the way down to 3, and as well, you get to immediately stun up to 3 of your opponent's Digimon on the board that has equal or less sources than this Digimon. So again, if your opponent goes really wide, you can punish them very hard with this particular card. It's your main go-to, and again, just a very good general card to have. Then for the newer Metal Greymon we have right here, we got 2 copies of the EX4 one, very similar to the older one, also 7 hard play cost. It has 1,000 less DP than it does. It has 7,000 DP instead. It also has the rush, also requires Digicross for a blue Greymon specifically and a male Bergermon. So keep in mind, guys, this one does require you to utilize the blue Greymon. Therefore, you cannot use the red security +1 Greymon along with this particular combo. Therefore, I play lesser copies of this one. It still has the simple, as per usual, material save 2. Now, this one has the on-play effect. If it was Digicrossed, you get to trash up to 2 of your opponent's Digivolution cards on one of your opponent's Digimon, and you get to basically pick and select which specific sources to remove. This is really good at getting rid of those inheritables that can be very disruptive against you, or has a very hard counter against you, or even just slows down the value that your opponents can get when they're building their stack. And then this one has an inheritable of when attacking not once per turn. If this Digimon has Grey Knightsmon, one of your opponent's Digimon with 3 or fewer Digivolution cards can't attack until the end of your opponent's turn. Now, we don't play Grey Knightsmon whatsoever, so we're never ever gonna get this inheritable in this particular deck. But of course, we might be visiting Grey Knightsmon sometime down the road, so you guys can even talk about it and see how it goes. That's it for our level 5s. Level 6s. 2 copies of Z-Gray. I still really like Z-Gray because it does Digivolve for 3 on top of a blue level 5 Digimon, but you're just Digivolving for 2 specifically with its black box text on top of Metal Greymon. And then its first effect is that when Digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon. Then if there is blue flare or cross hearts in this Digivolution card's trait, you basically get to gain 2 memory, and your opponent has to have 2 or more Digimon on the board as well. So effectively, you can Digivolve into this guy for free, and it gives you 1 extra free swing. It has the on deletion save, letting you place a blue Greymon and a blue male Bergermon from your trash underneath one of your Tamers with general in their traits as well. And then this one has an inheritable of opponent's turn. While this Digimon has blue flare in its traits, it gains blocker. Might get it every now and then, not always specific, just because you don't really always get to slide stuff in. But in my particular build, I actually never even utilize it, so I never really have that blocker overall, but I really just use it for the aggressive approach. Then, last but not least, is the new level 6 that we have included in the deck, which is super good. We have the Kuzuhamon from EX4. You can Digivolve for 3 on top of a level 5 blue. This Digimon is also treated as Tsukuyamon in its name, but it doesn't matter for this particular deck. When Digivolving, you may use an option card worth 5 or less costs in your hand for free. And then it has a secondary effect, which synergizes with its first effect, is that your turn once a turn, when you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more, you get to play 1 Taomon or one level 4 or lower yellow or blue Digimon from this Digimon's Digivolution sources without paying the memory cost. This is just really good to help you tech and then sneak in some extra value when it comes to playing some of your options. A lot of your options are 5 costs or less, so playing Kuzuhamon and getting into her sometimes in the mid or even early stages of the game, again, gives you a lot of value to help you push even further for consistency. And last but not least, for all of our Digimon, we got one Blitz Omni to go for game. I definitely really like this as a tech every now and then. Sometimes we need that extra swing and can we just simply finish games immediately very quickly, and this is why this card is really good. It has that protection as well of the all turns, but not super necessarily because again, when we play this card or Digivolve into it, we're planning to intend to end games. That's it for all of our Digimon. Let's talk about our Tamers now. 3 copies of Kiriha here. Of course, it is your memory tamer. It is the tamer that lets you save underneath your stuff. It has General and Blue Flare in its traits, so keep in mind it has a lot of synergy with all your other cards. Your turn, when you would play a Digimon with Digicross requirements, you get to suspend him and basically use sources from underneath your tamers as the Digicross requirements to go for that Digicross. And really crucial because you want to be seeing as often as you can, and Kiriha is definitely a must-have, at least a 3 of. Now, we have a brand new version of Kiriha. This one we have Kiriha and Nene, which is a EX4 edition with the dual color tamer, the dual tamer which helps support the deck a lot. Now, first and foremost, the name of this card and tamer is also always treated as Kiriha or Nene at the same time. Now, for the 4 cost, at the start of your main phase, if you have 2 or more Digimon in play, as long as there's 2 or more as in the entire board, including your own and your opponent's, you instantly just gain a memory. So you guys can see why I'm playing 4 copies of this, because you're consistently racking up even more memory. When you have multiples of these guys, it just gives you even further value overall. Then it has the all turns effects of when you would play a Digimon card with Blue Flare or Twilight in its traits with Digicross requirements. By suspending this tamer, you get to place 1 card from underneath one of your tamers and 1 card from your trash as its Digivolution cards for the Digicross requirement. So being able to do that, you can utilize stuff from your trash that you weren't able to have to save from earlier on. Really helps again with even comboing synergy and being able to access a whole new resource of the trash, which Blue Flare never had from before, is just again a absolutely really crazy card for sure. And yeah, that's the reason why I play 4 copies of it overall. That's it for all of our tamers. Let's talk about our options, where we still definitely need to be playing 4 copies of Blazing Memory Boost right here. For the 5 costs, it just gives you a lot, because with its main effect, you reveal the top 6 cards of your deck, add 2 cards with Blue Flare and its traits among them to your hand, and you get to play 1 Kiriha among them without paying the memory cost. Really crucial, because this can actually not only play the regular Kiriha you have, because the new EX4 Kiriha and Nene is also treated as Kiriha, you can actually play it with that effect as well, and then giving you the best value always. And then afterwards, you place the rest back to the bottom of your deck in any order. Its main delay, gaining 2 memory, is always just a great return again to make you go for the big combo plays. And this is one of the cards that you will always want to be seeing as early as possible in the games, just because as soon as you play it, it gives you a lot of searching capability and gives you a lot of consistency, and mainly again, value for what you're playing, and you get all that memory back. It's just way too good. Then we of course have 2 copies of Sorai. Sorai is just a really good sort of kind of trap option to, you know, stun your opponents, slow them down, taking out 4 sources from the top of your opponent's Digimon, and also stopping your opponent's Digimon with no sources from attacking for 1 whole turn. Really great security bomb. A lot of synergy with the entire deck overall, because sometimes, you know, when it comes out from the security, you can then afterwards stun their Digimon afterwards, and then you can continue to stun again. And yeah, really just hard punish your opponents overall. And then for other staples, definitely the 1 copy of Ice Wall right here. Ice Wall is just always a really good generic staple, as you guys mainly know. And yeah, just a really good card that there's nothing too much to talk about it overall. Then last but not least, I do have 1 spicy tech option right here, which I'm actually playing the all new BT13 Full Moon Meteor Impact, being Mirage Galgomon Burst Mode's signature move. Main, return 1 of your opponent's Digimon back to the hand, and then you gain 1 memory for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand, and the security effect just is basically Kakaida's Breath, bounces anything. So this is a really good clutch one-off tech option that I really like. Sometimes I might even think of playing 2, just because now you can bounce things with no level requirements whatsoever. It's just really good, and chances are your opponents are usually going to be having a lot more cards in their hands nowadays, and you can gain the memory back. You can often gain 1 or 2. Even if you gain 1, it's equivalent to Kakaida's Breath. If your opponent has even more cards in their hand than 8 or 12, then you're gaining 2 to 3 memory back. Then this is a even better budget version of Kokaida's Breath, essentially. So yeah, therefore, I think this is a really, really powerful card, which is kind of underrated, which nobody's currently playing, and that's why I really like to include it as well. That's it for the 50 card main deck. Now let's talk about all the other tech cards that you guys can be including into this deck overall, and there's a lot of different options and different variations you can play with Blue Flare, which is really cool. Of course, if you guys want a 5th egg or a different egg, Missimon is another one that you can consider from EX4, which is new. Quickly just talking about it, it has the inheritable of Undeletion. If you have a Digimon play, you get to draw one. I don't really like that requirement as much, but Blue Flare does cycle through its eggs fairly quickly, especially if the game prolongs a little bit, just because you always Digivolve to Rookie, push up, Digivolve Rookie, push up, and you repeat that. Therefore, having a 5th egg could be handy. This is why Missimon could work. Of course, as per usual, the Floodgate Rookies is always a very generic suggestion, depending on the meta, depending on the situation, depending on the counters that you want to play against. You would Floodgate against your opponents. Siako is just great for preventing your opponents from reducing any Digivolution costs, especially great against green, and also Modoki, Betamon, just more generic, stopping any memory gain other than Tamers. So you guys can include that, based on your own personal preference. Of course, now that we play so many Tamers, I still sometimes feel like I really want to include one hybrid for game every now and then, trying to find some room to fit it in there. But again, really up to your own personal preference. You guys can play this instead of the full Meteor Moon Meteor Impact I'm currently playing. So then, Kumamon's the best solution and the best choice, in my opinion, for Blue Flare, just because you can strip sources, and then when you do strip sources, you can combo and synergize with some of your stunning combos, which is always going to be good. We still have the Decker Dramon and the Decker Greymon package right here. You guys might be wondering why I'm not playing this anymore. Well, I mainly just really like to play the full out aggressive style and just focus on Metal Greymons and just being consistent and just make a lot of swings, attacks again and again and again, and just win games really quickly. Decker Dramon itself is actually a really good effect because it can give you a lot of draw power in the early stages of the game, and it can give you a lot of value. But for Decker Greymon specifically, I feel like you're only trying to play this card defensively when you're kind of about to lose, or you really need to control the board, which is not really my play style overall when it comes to blue decks, which is why I didn't include it. But of course, you guys can still play it if you really want to. We got one Metal Greymon plus Cyber Launcher right here. Also just a really great card. It's actually really good at getting rid of Floodgates. This deck does get hard countered by Floodgate rookies such as Psychmon, Solarmon, and Chikurimon, the ones that prevent you from reducing play cost, and this could actually help you get rid of them, which is something I might consider by adding in, just because I don't have any counters against those cards at the moment. Then of course, you can also be playing Shoutmon Cross 7 Superior Mode, and the combination with Kaiser Nail. Some of you guys probably would know that you can actually tuck in Cross 7 Superior Mode underneath your sources when you go for those sort of tucking effects, especially when it comes with Decker Greymon. But you guys know I don't play Decker Greymon, which only makes sense I don't play the Cross 7 combo. You can go for the hard play Cross 7 combo to Digicross from multiple different Blue Flare stuff, and Cross 7 itself is a Blue Flare in its trait as well. And then, yeah, afterwards, that's when you play Kaiser Nail to play it out for free as well. And it's just especially good at removing big stack decks such as Machinedramon, Wargreymon, giving you a better matchup against them. And again, the whole reason why I don't play them is because I just want to focus on consistency and just swing as much as I can. And these cards don't really help me do that. Then, as a different removal options for 7 costs, you guys can be playing Plasma Decadra Launcher. When you use this option card, if your opponent has 2 or more Digimon, you get to reduce the cost by 2, so make it 5 instead, and return one of your opponent's Digimon that's level 6 or higher back to their own hand. Security Bomb, just return any of your opponent's Digimon, one of them, back to their hand. Again, I think Full Meteor Impact is just a much better card overall. It's easier to meet those conditions in this current metagame anyways, and that's why I play that instead of this. And then last but not least, one Hammer Spark. Hammer Spark is always just really good as a utility card, helping you gain a memory suddenly and your opponent wouldn't expect it, but also as a security bomb. It's just really nice because you can potentially disrupt your opponent's turns and limit their plays by gaining that memory, or even sometimes passing it back to your side and then it goes back to your turn. What's better than stopping your opponents and removing the Digimon when you just completely stop their turn and skip their turn with this powerful option right here? That's it for all the cards and tech options that I wanted to show you guys and talk about. Now let's talk about the how to play and the combo segment of this particular deck. Now, starting with your hand, what you really want to be seeing in your opening hands and what you're trying to mulligan for is ideally cards that help you draw and search. Really, really important. Climbing the Digivolution line is not the Blue Flare style whatsoever. You're hard playing things most of the time anyways. You're trying to, Digicross, hard play for reduction costs as well for as cheap as possible. And not seeing your Tamers in your opening hand is not the end of the world either. What you really want to be actually seeing is Blazing Memory Boost. Blazing Memory Boost just gives you so much value immediately, even for the 5 memory. I often enough even just hard play it right in the beginning of my turn and pass my opponent at 5 if I'm going first. Ideally with Blue Flare, you do want to go first because you want to establish the first attack, so then you can start, cycling through your cards and start your combos and just play hyper aggressive, and that's my entire play style. Going second is not too bad as well sometimes, but I generally prefer to go first when it depends on most of my matchups. Of course, Digivolving into your Gaussmon from BT10 right here is what you want to be doing. Otherwise, Digivolving into this Dracomon or this other Gaussmon in the end is totally fine. Otherwise, if you don't have other cards to play, hard playing this Gaussmon is always great, just because even for the 3 memory, it's just like the good old Gabumon. You get to draw 1 card immediately, and every time when you play a Blue Flare card, essentially, you get to draw 1 card as well. Now, like I mentioned, Blazing Memory Boost is what you want to see as often as possible. Don't be shy. You can give your opponent 5 memory. Chances are they can't really answer your board, because the sooner you play this card, the more value you can start racking up and establishing. Don't be afraid searching the top 6 cards. You want to be hitting all your different Blue Flare cards so you can continue searching and finding your pieces to gather them so you can go for your combo for Digicross. And this is the time when you would sometimes review your Kiriha and your Kiriha Nenes, and this is why you want to use it to play them for free via this effect. So essentially, let's just say you want to grab a Greymon and a Metal Greymon, and then this will let you play one or the other of these Tamers, and it's instantly a lot of cards, and it gives you 2 memory back for the delay as well, which is why it's always value here. And once you have Tamers established, this is when you want to move up your Gaussmon, and as per usual, you just go ahead and chip away and use Wanyamon to draw 1 card, so then, if it ever gets deleted Gaussmon, you can immediately then play another Blue Flare card. Now, some stages in the game, if you don't have a Kiriha set up yet, then you can play Male Bergermon to help you set up Kiriha. Sometimes you don't hit it with Blazing Memory Boost. It does happen, which is totally fine. But ideally, the main card I actually always want to be playing is this particular Greymon, because then it gives you more searching right away. And when you have a Tamer established already, it's very important to establish a Tamer because you want to be Digicross and saving it underneath. Even though the new Kiriha and Nene can let you Digicross from trash, but you can only Digicross from trash 1 at a time. If you only establish multiple, then that's when you can, use more of them and sort of like Digicross more from trash. And then that's why you still want to, ideally have a Tamer so you can save underneath the Tamers. And then when you do really need to use resources from your trash, that's when you would use these guys right there. And then, of course, if you ever hard play something, Gaussmon's going to give you a draw card as well. And eventually, you want to see and sort of like force your opponent to play out 2 Digimon on the board. And if they ever do so, this is when you instantly just go into your Metal Greymon combo right here. I ideally really actually like to slide in the Red Greymon now, specifically with this new older Metal Greymon, just because it allows you to use the red one, whereas the new one doesn't, alongside with the Male Bergermon jamming right here. So then you immediately swing 2 checks with jamming, and you don't have to worry about security in most cases unless you run into a bomb. And just by doing that, you can just swing a lot of checks. Otherwise, the standard, Greymon plus this other Male Bergermon is also really, really fine with the classic combo, because it helps you stun multiple things on the board, and you can swing and you can stun another thing right here, and then you can unsuspend and swing again. If not, otherwise, I think a combination of the Male Bergermon, new one, and this older Greymon is also totally fine, because again, it's effectively almost the same as this, whereas this one gives you 2 swings, which is actually technically better in a way, because then you can control your attacks a little bit and sequencing a little bit differently and gives you that flexibility. Now, if your opponent ever has Digimon that has really disruptive sources that you can't deal with, this is the time when you would play this one in particular, because this one will let you strip out their sources and you can pick and choose, like I mentioned, and does exactly the same thing as a regular Metal Greymon. Swing. If you had the Blue Greymon underneath, you get to unsuspend. If you had the Metal Bergermon, you had the jamming and whatnot, and you continue to do that over and over again. Now, it's very simple. Again, once your opponent establishes 2 bodies on the board, it's almost game over for them. This is when you can evolve into your Z Greymon to unsuspend again, make multiple checks, and this is why having the red Greymon is what my favorite part is, because now again, you're going to be swinging for 2 checks with another jamming right here, and you can just very, very explosively just take out your opponent's security and win games very, very quickly before they can even react to your plays. If you ever have it, finish it with Blitz Omni just like that. Now, in a different situation, this is why I really like Kuzuha as a tech. This is because you can sometimes Digivolve into her, and then you can actually be playing your Blazing Memory Boost for free. So seeing her early sometimes is actually really, really good for you because it gives you so much value. Otherwise, you can even be playing Soul Ride for free as well. And then, of course, you know, the least ideal one is to play Ice Wall, and then you have that one memory, which doesn't fulfill her secondary effect requirement. Therefore, playing any of these two, you can immediately then play something that's level 4. Ideally, it might be this Greymon right here, and then you get to continue to search once again. Or otherwise, you can actually even play this Middle Bergermon to give like a mini Ice Wall effect to your opponent. Or otherwise, you play another Middle Bergermon here, this one, to help you self-grab a Metal Greymon back. And yeah, just really versatile on what you really want to choose. And of course, sometimes you ever might have this one singular Greymon every now and then, which is a good tech otherwise. But yeah, I don't really like it as often. And these are really just cool. You have so much versatility. You can use these guys to use your sources from trash to Digicross. And then if they ever get deleted, you get to save them back underneath. So a lot of cycling going on. And again, like I mentioned, these guys give you so much memory as long as there's 2 bodies on the board. If your opponent has 1 body, all you have to do is just make sure you have 1 Digimon on the board. Then you instantly gain 1 memory each, just like that. And yeah, and then otherwise, Kiriha itself, always just a really good one, just to give you that memory tamer and use stuff from underneath Tamers as well. So you can use underneath any of your other Tamers. And that's really how you want to play. You just rinse and repeat this and swing super aggressively, super quickly. And yeah, you can just finish games so quickly that your opponents can't even react and even stop you sometimes. That'll wrap up for the deck profile for today. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a like. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, or questions, be sure to share it with everyone in the comments down below. Once again, be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for more BT13 content. If you guys just can't wait and want to see early deck lists and first drafts, then once again, definitely join the Avault Club. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and this is Avault, signing out.